are things that we can go on to that nature, we would definitely check those out. I don't know what locations. I honestly, I just know we're going to a bunch of islands, Eastern Caribbean cruise, and that's going to be warm. She's going to be, and she's going to be happy with that. So it's the Royal Caribbean cruise. So we're leaving out of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we checked it out because we were going to go, and things fell through. Ended up getting a grandkid, and things like that.
That's a blessing. So
like I said, I checked out some things, some day trips, and they said the roads there are horrible. Though the roads are horrible. So that's
we're in Puerto Rico.
No, in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been hit though. They've been hit pretty hard with hurricanes. So I can imagine, the rebuilding the infrastructure is pretty hard. Obviously all the tourist areas are pretty good, but that's where they're going to put all the resources to. But when you get inwards to the island, it's probably really difficult. I was on Haiti. I was in Haiti, and when I got into the island, I just was in disbelief. Like the touristy area is beautiful, and then it's like these poor people. Like they have to live in this. And I don't know how I could, and I felt so bad, and I wish there was more I could do.
Oh yeah, and I know that they're two different countries, and I know that Dominican Republic is governed differently, but one of the baseball players lost his life on a road in Santo Domingo a couple years ago. That's all I know. I just heard that the roads down there were horrific, so just keep that in mind. But, there was a few things that we looked at down there, but there's a fortress of some explorer that was down there. And it was just kind of neat, because we don't get to see buildings that were built pre-1500s in the United States often. So I just thought that was interesting. So another question in the chat room is from Carl. Have you ever investigated outside, like the cemetery? I know you've investigated outside at Hinsdale House. Have you done other places outside as well?
Yeah. We've I've done a lot of outside investigating with Chris Sutton. Actually, he's it's really cool to be able to investigate with somebody that's with shamanistic beliefs, investigating the land and Mother Earth. And kind of his whole theories on things. So, we've done a lot of outside of Edinburgh Manor. We've gotten some pretty cool stuff. Some old cemeteries we've been in. It's been pretty interesting for sure. Yeah, it's the land. A lot of places where you go, just the history. You're bound to pick something up if you sit there long enough.
I can see that. So when you went to oh, you just said it.
Edinburgh Manor?
Edinburgh. You guys got some good stuff. Do you recommend people going there?
Oh my God, yeah, that was a very, very cool location, outside and inside. It was there's this old tree on the outside of the building, and we surrounded the tree and put our hands on the tree, and he started doing a drum circle, and we were getting EVPs outside by the tree, and then a lot of people were saying they were seeing like shadow figures out in the by the bushes, like it's like we were getting surrounded. It was just an interesting night to be there and just kind of getting a different aspect on investigating,
Yeah.
When we do stuff like that.
That happens often when Chris does drumming.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's inside or outside.
No. And Chris, Chris has a show on Viddy Space too now.
Yes, I do know.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. And his whole when he was at the Hinsdale House, I actually have it up on my YouTube page. We filmed him doing his offering at the Hinsdale House in his drum circle. For people to watch with Brett. Brett was there, and Chuck Banks, and it's all for people, if anybody's interested in watching that. It's up on my YouTube page. If you just go to YouTube and type in my name, Daniel Klaes, it's you can see what they all did, and it's pretty amazing.
We'll check that out.
Yeah.
Considering that we know all of you, makes it easy. When you say, hey, I at least know these. I know these two firsthand. These other two I've talked to. It makes it easier when you've at least talked to somebody. You at least feel like you know them a lot better, and than just being on Facebook. Because
Right.
now when I mention your name to Ron, it's going to be a whole different ball game. It's well, because before he goes, "Who's Daniel?" And I go, "Hinsdale House, New York," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And so next week I've got June Lundgren, and I'm going to have to spend the whole next week going. She's on Ghost Adventures this week, on the one that just aired that I haven't seen yet, the Norblad Hotel. So we got to see that. When is your episode airing on
Travel Channel?
Yeah, the one for the most terrifying places.
That'll be on October 28th at 10 o'clock.
That's funny because that's the same time that Cheryl Ann Fletcher, hers is going to be on as well, from Nebraska.
Cool. Yeah. I think they may put 4 locations on each episode. So Hinsdale and Wildwood Sanitarium will be on that episode as well.
So you guys check that out. Set your DVRs for that, and because I'm waiting for that to come out. Because I know the first episode that I saw of Most Terrifying Places had Alex Matsuo on it, who was a prior guest of mine, and she has a saying that I love. It said, she tells people, for paranormal investigators, don't tell somebody it's a demon, because then everybody else after you has to spend all their time proving it's not. Because I hate going into somebody's house and they're going, well, the paranormal team that was here told me it was a demon.
Right. Yeah, that's.
And then you have to spend
The
all
word is
your
used
time.
way too much.
It is. You have to spend all your time proving it's not a demon. How often have you witnessed something that might have been a demonic haunting?
In the 10 years I've been doing this, probably 2, and it's not something I dealt with either. I bring somebody else in for it. If it's something I deem not in my realm to deal with, I bring getting somebody else in there.
Is that the reason why you brought all those light workers to Hinsdale? Because you wanted to make sure it wasn't demonic?
No, I don't feel it's demonic. I feel like what they deemed as a demonic entity back in the 1970s. This is you got to remember, this is back before the movie The Exorcist came out. It was taboo. It wasn't something that was generally put out there, and they were a very Catholic family, and it was put out in the papers, and they were getting ridiculed. So it was either angels or demons back then, and there's definitely a bastard of a spirit there, but it's not anything comparable to a demon that I've ever dealt with. There's been people that have gotten scratched, but you have to prepare yourself no matter where you go when you're doing what we do. And I always warn people when they go in there that you have to stay grounded. You have to kind of stay in a positive light. If you feel things are changing, speak up. Let one of us know so we can get you out of here. Mm-hmm. We don't want anybody to be affected, like the way Nick was during the episode. He opened himself up to the elements of that house and really let what was there in. And we've never had an issue like that again. Knock on wood, but it's there has been one other situation, but we've dealt with it. And you just got to definitely stay on your toes there. And eventually, I would love to have the place cleared. It's not. I'd love to be able to help the spirits that are there, if we can. It's many have come and tried, and me bringing in the 7 light workers to the outside definitely lightened it up a little. So it may be a situation where I have to bring in an army. I don't know yet.
Was there a reason why you chose 7?
No, that's just who showed up. Okay. I invited Chuck and Chris and Brett and some of the, like Candy Orton, some of the people that were on Chuck's network that were close by. They asked if they could come, and I said by all means. One of the psychics that I work with came to help with the tour, and it just ended up being 7 of them. So.
I just asked. I was just wondering if there was a significant to the.
No, not for
number.
Me at least. No, that's just how many ended up being there that night.
Because 7 is considered a bad number in that, so they say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't, I don't,
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
So,
It is what it is.
yeah. Gary from CC Paranormal, he's also a minister in Caldwell County, Missouri. And he asks, what do you feel about dowsing rods? Can a person actually believe that the dowsing rods are telling them a story? That they're
Well,
factual?
I mean, they've used them for years, you know. I don't use dowsing rods myself. There's people that live by them, but when there's human interaction with the weight, like just the same as a pendulum, when there's human interaction with them, it definitely could be debunked. So if you take the dowsing rods and set them into cylinders and they start moving back and forth, I may be a little bit more compelled to believe that something's happening than if they're being held by human hands, because those human hands twitch, they move, and it's just that's just my personal belief, But I don't deter people from experimenting or trying things and testing new things out for themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can just shift your weight a little bit and they change.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I've tried them, but that was in the beginning stages of paranormal research for me, and I determined that wasn't something that was going to be indicative to me getting good paranormal research for myself.
right. I mean, and when you first start out paranormal investigating, I believe it's sometimes it's the beginning.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you determine, am I going to spend $400 on a camera, or am I going to spend $20 on dowsing rods? I'm going to get the dowsing rods first and try those out,
Or am I going to pull some hangers out of the closet and make my own for free?
There you go.
Which is what I did. And that's what I did. I have like 6 pair now.
Yeah, I have my first pair. I got them at a Paracon, and they're pretty.
I have a pretty pair from McPike. I have a very pretty pair from Kara Shoplin. Her husband, George, was on a Ghost Adventures episode. I have Ron's heavy-duty pair made by Gary. We have that. I actually have a collection of dowsing rods. So I actually have a telescoping pair
Nice.
that I can use as when I speak as well as a to point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's neat.
But I can also make them as small as I need to. So they're perfect for putting in your suitcase, and they don't usually get you in trouble with TSA.
Right.
Which I had dowsing rods the last time. But hey, guys, come back here in a few minutes. We're gonna continue talking to Daniel Klaes. We're on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. Take a short break and come back. See ya.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting